Yo, yo, what's up, y'all? What's up? Hey, hey. Just gonna wait for a few folks to pile on in. Hey, Mom, you can go ahead. Yep, view request. Doot, doot. Hi, Mom.
I see.
How's it going?
It's going, sweetie.
Um, 1 second. So we're just gonna wait for a few people to pile on in there.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. I am like also being hilarious because I have to do one quick thing. Um, let's see.
How do I get? I see.
Nope, you're in. Yep,
Okay.
there you go. Perfect. Um, so we are just waiting for a few people to come in. Everybody, thank you for joining. My name is Zipporah Jarman. I am the um, director of marketing for the Care Plan. We are like a healthcare navigation organization. We do things such as just like I said, healthcare navigation. If you are like someone who is like planning to have like surgery, whether it's gender affirming surgery or just like a everyday surgery, we can help you plan for that, help you plan for your future, help you just navigate the healthcare system really. And today we are with my mom, Ray to Jarman. Um, and so, Mom, if you would like to give a quick hello and tell the folks about yourself real quick.
Hello, everyone. I am Rachel Jarman. I am Zipporah's Jarman's mom. Let me see. What all you want me to tell Z?
Um,
Um, of course, most everybody know all my children. Ivana, Zipporah, Donovan. Um, I have two sisters.
mm,
I do work in the health field. I'm a radiation. I work in radiation. I do referrals, so I make sure
nice,
my patients are covered.
perfect. So today we are just going to be talking about like generational caregiving, and like one of the things that really stuck out and have stuck out to me like around the conversation of caregiving, especially just like the last few years doing like Jackie Boyd, who is like our founder and CEO, um, has been like the word caregiver or caregiving. Like I never knew that word or that language officially. Hey Vonnie, until like working for the care plan. But like I've always known it. Like I've seen like my mom care give. I've care gave for various situations, whether it was like, grandparents being sick. My mom had a surgery. I remember taking care of my mom for a surgery. People just like having codes, right? Like caregiving is such like a umbrella term for just like taking care of people you love. So like like this month when we were talking about like March is Women's History Month, and we were talking about really just re-highlighting caregivers. I thought it was a perfect opportunity to talk to my mom about caregiving. And I know how I stepped into caregiving and how it's just a natural part of my life. But I didn't know the story from my mom. So here we are, care planning it out with my mom, doing the thing. So, Mom, what's your like first memory of like seeing someone like care give?
I have to say, I was in grammar school,
Mm-hmm.
and Chris, my oldest sister, of course, Zipporah and them aunt, she used to suffer with a lot of balls under her arm.
Mm-hmm.
So it got to the point she couldn't sleep. She would be up all night crying. And when she had to have surgery to have them removed, being there watching my mom like put the gauze in, take the gauze out, cleaning the wound, So it kind of got to, this is what my mom's doing, so this is what I need to do to help my sister so she won't suffer and just be in so much pain. So with just watching my mom to me, like, okay, I can clean the wound, I can put the compress under your arm, I can elevate your pillow, is this comfortable? Do you need to take your medicine? So it just kind of fell from watching what my mom does, what my mom did, and then I started doing it. So I stayed in grammar school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually like makes a lot of sense. Just like it's funny because like I have the context of like knowing Crescenda and like having like I know some of her medical history, even though like if I think of her medical history, that's not the first thing to come in mind, but like I do know that. And so like I'm surprised because I wouldn't have thought of that being like your first memory. And also it's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Um yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah, you probably
Um
remember when she had the surgery on her leg and we had to pack her leg and,
yeah,
clean solution. Yeah.
I actually forgot about that. And I think probably that might be one of my first experiences like caregiving in some capacity is like putting gauze in her like leg for that surgery, or when Uncle Dan hurt
His
his
thumb.
thumb,
Yes.
which is like I feel like really just kind of highlights how like easily and like effortlessly and just like um how I think caregiving can be such a just like familiar and transitional part of just like life. Like it's just like part of family and like growing up. Like, yeah, I think that's like really being stressed for me right now. Do you have any like memories of like granddaddy or like Uncle Dan caregiving for anyone?
Um, with my dad, no, not
Mm,
really. I think because of men back then, it was just mainly that was something the women would do. They would help out, but no, let me take that back. I do. Um, Uncle Nay, who is Ada's father, when he was going through chemo and radiation, I didn't see it because, of course, I was in school. But Dad will always take on a Northwestern, make sure he
mm,
would do chemo, radiation, and bring him home, make sure he had everything.
mm,
Uncle Dan, actually, no. I don't really remember Uncle Dan, going back and forth to the doctor, even though he was on point when it came to his own health going to the VA, but
mm.
not Uncle Dan. But it was always either mom, and like I said, I do remember Dad taking Uncle Nay to the hospital all the time for chemo and radiation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think that like that kind of it doesn't surprise me that like granddaddy didn't really like just the idea of like what men are supposed to be doing, but also this like role of like driving someone to and from like a place, like even thinking about like
Yeah.
granddaddy driving grandma to the hospital, I think, like for your birth, but like going home and watching the game, like
Absolutely.
just like yeah, which wasn't probably like I'm sure grandma wasn't happy about that, but you know what happened. um I have really strong memories of like yeah the time with like Chris having the surgery, and then so what happens, my aunt, which is my mom's oldest sister, had surgery, and then there's a memory of my great uncle injuring his thumb somehow doing work and us like packing his thumb as well. And my mom, and I'm not sure why, maybe you can answer this better, but like, um, you know, I'm not sure if it was me being curious or me and my siblings being curious or you being like, look, we can't, you and dad or whoever, whatever adults not really being able to like assist in like caring for the wound as often, but I do have memories of like me and my sister. I think Donovan, my little brother, was too young to be doing it anyway, but there's definitely these like memories of us doing this like caregiving very young. Do you have like any memories around like teaching us that or?
Well, at that time, I know you're talking about with Uncle Dan. Um, Uncle Dan was a mechanic, and with your tires, sometimes if they're really bad, like the metal can come out. So
Mm-hmm,
he was really just trying to, I guess, take the tire off, and it just cut his thumb. Instead of him
mm-hmm,
going to the hospital, you know how they go, well, no, you go to the hospital, they're going to find out something else wrong with you. So he wouldn't go. So I'm like, okay, we have to take care of this thumb before it just falls off.
mm-hmm,
So just putting the peroxide on to make sure it was clean. So you guys was like kind of curious, like, ooh, why is his thumb looking? Can we just pull the skin off? I mean, literally, like you could just take the skin from the middle part. And it was just,
mm-hmm,
okay. So it was like, okay, this is because you guys wasn't going to let up. So it was like, okay, let me show you what I'm doing. So
mm-hmm,
taking a peroxide, cleaning. So every time he would come home from the shop, you guys, if I wasn't there, you knew, okay, he took a bath. Okay, we got to put the peroxide on. We got to rewrap his thumb, make sure it's nice and clean. And I think that's where it started. You guys,
yeah,
huh,
yeah,
just taking care of Uncle Dan, but like you said, now it's caregiving. But just
yeah,
let's take care of our great uncle.
yeah. I mean, I still
Mm-hmm.
think of it that way. Like there's like, I think especially as I work in the field that I work in, where like language matters around a lot of things in general, first off, but in the work that I do specifically. And I know like the language caregiving, but like, yeah, on every day for me, that just means taking care of whoever, right? Like
Yeah.
when I was injured, right? Like I had people who like, I had a friend who paid one of their friends to take me to and from work, and that was caregiving. I had so many different examples of people who caregave for me. You know what I mean? And that's just like caring for people that you love. But I think that like, when you say like, yeah, like we were just curious kids, and just seeing how that like developed into like where we're at now, where like, if someone is sick, you know what I mean? Like if a wife is sick or if someone at home is sick, I mean, we're living in a global pandemic. Many people are sick and or whatever personal may be happening. Like we know how to take care of each other. We know how to take care of people, and it's not anything big. It's just like, oh yeah, this person needs me to run to the store and grab all these things, or this person needs, this or that. Um, do you do you remember like I remember like with Granddaddy, I think Granddaddy was the first like time that I remember seeing you care give in a way that was like more hands on. Like I think that there's a part of caregiving that is the like, yeah, let's swap out the bandages until it heals up. And then there's also the part of caregiving that is okay, this is like a mid to long term journey or experience, or this might be a surprise experience, right? And I do remember like being like at the hospital every day, or at the rehab every day with Granddaddy and with you. And I guess my question is like, there's a difference between like the bandages and then the like navigating between like the doctors and advocating for like someone's health and like making
Yeah.
sure that doctors are doing what they're supposed to do, and how different is that of an experience for you, or how different was that of an experience for you?
Um, well, like you said, dealing with Uncle Dan, putting the wrap, that was okay. You're at home, but when it came to Dad, because I had two incidents. I had when he first had his stroke.
Mm-hmm,
So of
mm-hmm,
course, you're there. You're trying to find out, okay, those decisions that you have to make, like should he take this medication? Will it reverse the stroke? And then from there, it's like, okay, what damage did it do? Okay, you got to talk to the neurologist, you got to talk to cardiology, you have to talk to all these different I always say the college, not cardiologists, but the all it's all
Yeah,
of those
all the
it's
yeah,
at the end
yeah.
of their profession. I love them all because they all have their different views. And okay, this is his brain. And, okay, if you look at the right side, it's the left, but if you look at the left, it's the right. You have to understand their
Mm-hmm.
lingo, and just have to go. Okay, this is what I need to do, but I have to make sure I ask the right questions. And then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have to tell them, hold on, slow down,
Yeah.
explain this to me because I don't comprehend. Even though I worked in the health field, but it kind of take that back burner. Yes, I work for the health field, but this is my loved ones.
Yeah.
So we're dealing with dad who had the stroke. Then, what, 10, 11 years later, he ended up having a tumor in his colon. So that was like a whole different level. So I went from his brain to
Mm-hmm.
he was like in rehab and making sure he could walk and this to now it's like, okay, now I'm in his colon and now we got to do surgery. Will he need wear a colostomy bag or
Yeah.
look at a colostomy bag? Then it went from, okay, he didn't need it, surgery was great, now he's in rehab, now he got an infection. So then it went from, okay, now he got a temperature, now he has to, so it's like so much on you. But
Yeah.
then it's like, I need y'all to, cause, and that's one thing I tell everybody when you dealing with your loved one in the hospital, you have the right to tell them to stop, slow down,
Mm-hmm.
let me understand what you're saying. And
Mm-hmm.
they will. Just because they got MD behind their name, don't mean they're not human. Sometimes you got to pull the string to let them know, hey, roll back. So with
Yeah.
dealing with dad, that was just something totally different. And I think you remember the time when he was in rehab.
I know what you're
And
gonna say.
yes, you know where I'm going with that. And I noticed that they didn't come and they haven't cleaned the bed or anything. And I looked at his foot; they had a wound on it. I'm like looking at the date. I'm like, okay, this is 2 days later, and I'm on them. This should have
Yeah.
happened. And then by then it was like, well, no, let me see the don. Let me see the director of nursing because y'all haven't did what you're supposed to be at. And I just
Yeah.
had to really tell them, you know what? I don't know who in your family that you love. And maybe your
Mm-hmm.
father, your mom, your uncle, but you make sure this man is that person in your family that you love. You better take
Mm-hmm.
care of him like he's yours.
Yeah.
Get any more problems.
Yeah.
But I
I
said
mean,
in a way, I wasn't mean, but I let him know. This is my dad. This is my dad.
yeah.
Y'all gonna take care of him.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
was just a different scenario. You know.
I think caregiving also just like ca- caregiving is it doesn't like be there's definitely a beginning and there but there's like no like end to it, and I don't mean that in like a morbid way, but there's just so much complexity in that. Like, yeah, it could be as easy as like, getting somebody some medicine or making them some tea and,
Mm-hmm.
doing the gauze and that's all. Or you can sit there and you're advocating and being like, yo, why hasn't this gauze or band-aid been cleaned in 2 days? Or,
Exactly.
hey, this person has not been, have not been cleaned in a day or two. And like, why have this person not received the attention that a human being should receive, right? And just making
Exactly.
sure that like caregiving is also just advocating, right? Like there's so many levels of what needs to be done, and I think that's one of the, definitely the first memories. Like there's of course first memories I have, but like the first memory of what advocating looks like. And I'm sure there's other smaller ones that I have, like, or little like nuanced moments that like I'm sure you've advocated, on other levels that's not medical based, um but yeah, definitely. So like when it comes to like like you receiving like care, how has it been for you, like receiving care? Like, so I know you, like, for example, have had surgeries. I know you sprained your ankle back in the day. I still don't completely know what you did back in the day, but I know you, maybe there was a bee or
Oh,
something. I don't know, but you sprung an ankle. It's barely in my brain, but I know you did. But I know you've been cared for. Okay. You've had 3 kids, you've had a C-section, people been taking care of you. tell me about what's one thing you think that you think is something you need when you're being taken care of, and something that you think that others need when they're being taken care of.
Um, well, I can admit, last year, when I had when I had COVID,
Mm,
I commend you all because you just like, let me get the diamond. You know, that came to the door. Ivana was like, okay, it's time to take your temperature. Make sure you drink your water. I had people bring me, Brian brought me food, Daniel brought me tea, and everybody brought me. But it was like, okay, but then in a way it was like, okay, because then y'all became the role of like mama, like, okay, did you take your medicine?
mm,
Did you get some rest? Did, what are you doing? You probably like, so in that part it was like, okay, but then I wanted y'all to like, I want y'all just to relax. I'm okay. Don't be so stressful. Then I realized like, God, they just flipped the script on me,
mm,
because when you are the person taking care of the loved one, you kind of forget about yourself. So then you get overwhelmed, you get stressed, you get tired because you're so busy caring for that loved one. And then the
mm,
loved one don't try not to be mean to you, but it's like, go lay down somewhere.
mm,
I'm okay. But you still, it's just that you go from being a strong one to now you need help. And then when you get the help, it's like, okay, I'm okay. But then y'all stay strong, just like you was when you and your ankle.
mm.
You were like, I'm okay,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I
okay.
was annoyed as hell.
I know.
Because
It's
I'm
in your
like, if
face.
I need help, I will ask.
Ask for help.
Lord,
But the
y'all.
same thing, I'm like, I'm locked in my room. I'm on lockdown. I can't go nowhere. And it's like, did she take her medicine? Now, and I hear you guys. I'm like, do they know I'm in another room? I can hear y'all talking
We did
about
not care.
me. Did not care
Um,
at all.
and what do you think that people who are being cared for need? So you were saying that you were getting, I think what you needed and what you're receiving was community. I think that community, I think that the nice thing about when things happen,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like, when I tore my Achilles, I was pleasantly surprised by like my community. I said I was gonna rides, right? Like, of course, family did stuff, right? Like, there's a lot of different levels of just how people showed up for me when I couldn't walk for a long time. So, like, in that same respect, like, people were showing up for you in all these ways. What do you think that? What do you think that people need when they're being taken care of?
When people are getting taken care of, they have to understand that their loved ones, it's love. And sometimes when you're the one who needs the care, it's kind of hard to let go of the reins and allow somebody to take care of you because you're so used to taking care of others.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, on both ends, to be patient
Mm-hmm.
and just receive that love that
Mm-hmm.
you're being taken care of. Receive it. Don't just fight with it. But like, no, I don't. I know I can't walk, but I'll drag myself to the bathroom. No, accept.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can care for you. Accept that person giving you an aspirin because if the shoe was on the other foot, you be the one that like, let me give you some water. Let me do this for you. So just kind
Yeah.
of accept the love, appreciate the love, and be like, okay. In some ways, just kind of take advantage of it.
I mean, you have to. I mean, not have to, right?
I
That's
mean,
not
not
the
in the bad
language, but
way,
yeah,
Not like you feeling bad and you're
you,
like, hey,
yeah,
I want this, but yes.
yeah, I agree. I definitely think that, you know, you have to just receive it. Um, because there's definitely hard lessons that get had when you don't. Like, I've definitely, when I was injured, I remember someone was like, uh, I was like climbing on the little step stool on my one foot to water my plants. And they was like, you shouldn't be doing that. I was like, I'm fine. I got it. I've done this for weeks now. But then I fell and I hurt myself. And I was like upset because I was like, dang, I should listen, you know? And sometimes you should just listen, even if you could do it, even if you've done it weeks beforehand, you should have just listened. I mean, maybe not all the time, but sometimes.
Yeah,
So,
you guys had to take my keys when I had surgery. Cause
yeah. I
yeah,
mean, yeah, you have to, but also like, yeah, it's just like part of caregiving and also planning. I mean, like when you had your surgery and you stayed with me for a few days, like, and I talk about like how the care plan does this, whether it's for like I mentioned earlier, like gender affirming surgery, such as top surgery, or just like a regular procedure, right? Like, but like planning for a surgery, like we did that without even like thinking about it, but you being like, okay, well, like I'm having the surgery, I'm not going to be able to walk past the gate at grandma's house, up those steps, walk through this house, go up a whole bunch more
that,
steps, and then, rest, And so it was easier to make a plan that centered around accessibility from like the front door to, being able to sit. And like you stayed with me for a few days, and I took care of you then.
yeah.
Which I feel like there's also something to say about like taking care of a loved one, or not even a loved one, but like a parent for the first time, because you'd be like, I just want to call my mom and be like, Mom, what do I do? But then mom is right here needing help. Who do I call now? Like,
But that's like, mama, she was like sitting in a wheelchair, like stressed, like I can't see my daughter. I know surgery went, but until we came, you guys allowed me to come over here. And then she was like, okay, I see my daughter. She's fine. But she did not like that I wasn't at the house. Like, you can't come up. You can't come up here. You're in a wheelchair, lady.
yeah,
But she
yeah.
was so overwhelmed and stressed because, oh, I know my daughter's having surgery and I can't be there. It's like, lady, you was there for me with 3 kids. I had all 3 kids and you was right there. But she was like,
Mm,
no.
yeah. How is caregiving for like a parent or like someone like Uncle Dan? And Uncle Dan, for the people who's not our family members in this, is like was my grandmother's older brother, but like more like my grandmother is one of like a bunch of kids, but
Sure.
they 13, but they were really close. And so like Uncle Dan, even though he was like one of many uncles, he was definitely one of the favorite uncles. So in my mind, I think of Uncle Dan as kind of like another grandparent in a way. But how has, it been different to like caregive for someone like, grandma or granddaddy or Uncle Dan in comparison to like your kids, So I'm thinking about, what's up, T? So I'm thinking about, you know, um, I remember Ivana, had the flu as a kid a few times. I, have had stitches. Donovan have had injuries. He fractured his foot. I've torn my Achilles. I've had pneumonia. I think Dominic was sick as a kid, right? Like,
Oh my God, yeah.
luckily I mean, I have first and second degree burns, right?
Yeah.
And so like we have all had experiences in which we've needed caregiving, but I'm curious, as someone who don't have children and who have caregave a lot in a lot of different contexts, how has caregiving for like parents and like someone like Uncle Dan look different than like caregiving for your kids? Oh, and
Uh,
concussions. Thank you, Donovan.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He had a concussion. Um, it's kind of like that saying Mama used to say, like, I'm the parent, you the child. I had you, you didn't have me. It's that. I'm the parent, so of course I take care of my kids, whatever it is. But when you're the child and they're the parent, yes, they're ill, but they let you know, what you know, your mama. I'm just that. Yes, I know. That's like me and Daddy kind of had this kind of disagreement after he had a stroke, and he was hungry. He was like, "Go down to the gift shop and get me a Mr. Hershey with no nuts." And I'm like, "What you gonna do with it?" "Oh, I'm stuck on the chocolate." "You can't, dude. You got to learn how to swallow again." "Yes, I can, because I'm your dad. I told you to go down."
Mm.
It's like, I know what you told me to do, but medically, you can't have it. So,
Mm.
like, you still have to kind of step up in that role, like, I get it. I'm your kid. I have to be obedient, but I'm taking care of you. So,
Mm-hmm.
as being a mom, it's like, yeah, Z, go lay down because you have the pneumonia. You can't be walking around, asking Donovan a million questions. Donovan's Donovan. He came from school. How was school? Donovan was his word. School was school.
School, yeah,
But for
that's
him to
right.
tell me, I don't know.
Yeah,
Red flag. What's going on?
yeah.
I don't know. Right then, that click. Did you have a? Did you get tackled? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He must have a light concussion. Mom
Mm-hmm.
called doctor. He had a light concussion.
Yeah.
So it's like with mom. You got some senses, but as the child, you still a child, but
And you have to.
that you got to take charge. And we as parents don't want to give up the charge. We
Yeah.
still parent, but you know. So it's that's the difference. That's the hard part. So you go from being the child to the adult. It's like what Uncle Dan say. Um, once he said, once an adult, twice a child. I
Mm-hmm.
don't remember
Mm-hmm.
you ever hear him saying that. And
Mm-mm.
he's always say that. Once an adult, twice a child. What are you talking about, little old man? But you are a child once, but then they get older, then they all sometimes become that child. Now I have to take care of you. I have to,
Mm-hmm.
help you walk. I have to help you put your jacket on. Have to remind you to take your medicine.
Mm-hmm.
A kid, you got to, if they sick, you got to give them medicine. Somebody's
Yeah.
old, you have to make sure they take the medicine. Hey, did Kavan do that to me every morning? Hey, have a good day at work. Hey, make sure you put your contacts in, take your medicine. See you. Be careful. Wear your mask. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that
Okay.
definitely makes sense.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, because I can see that where it's like, uh, yeah, I see that, and that gives a lot of context. Hey, also, hey, Aisha, that gives a lot of context to like, yeah, the like, when when you made the comment about granddaddy, when Angie's mom was sick and her mom told her not to drive to Canada, and Angie's like, I'm your only child. Of course I'm gonna drive to Canada. And she drove to
exactly.
Canada. Um, and she drove straight through. She stopped for gas once. And she gets into the hospital room. And the first thing her mom says is, uh, I think Angie said, "Hey, mom, I'm here." And she said, an obedient child would have listened to her mother, right? Like,
Exactly. Exactly.
but I definitely, I think align with that. And the like as much as I can as someone who has no children but many pets. Um, but
That's
yeah.
That's like mom when she was in rehab, and I think she's thinking I'm just here for physical therapy, but you got OT, you got PT. She has speech, and the speech pathologist said, therapist said, "Have you ever, have you always talked that way?" And mom was like, "No, I just started talking like this when I had this stroke. I am not here for you to be asking me about how I talk. I'm here for PT. That's it. I ain't got to be here. I got a house." I'm like, oh, so when I got to work, I had to tell her, I said, "Gloria, we don't do that." And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh," I'm like, "Yes, mom, I understand, but you can't talk to people like that." I said, "I better not ever hear you talk." And she looked at me,
Mm-hmm.
you better ever talk to somebody like that. And she's like, "You know how mama gets excited?"
Mm-hmm. Because she's done with the conversation.
She does. But I was done too. And it felt good to have that little bitty power. Like, look,
Yeah,
you will
that's
not embarrass me up in here.
that's what I was gonna
You
say.
get
The
'em.
the difference is a different kind of power, is what you're saying. But
Yeah.
I definitely can and have seen the like, okay, you caregiving for a parent and they are a certain way, and like you got to take the way that they are with them, with that's just who they are. You
Yeah.
also have to advocate for them and take care of them and make sure that like at the end of the day they take their pill, they
Mm-hmm.
get that gall right,
Yeah.
they do whatever it is to make sure that they're safe and healthy and continue on the track of healing or recovery or whatever the case may be, whether or not they get on your nerves. But like that's just part of it. And it's I'd imagine being the being the parent has its moments where it's easier, especially when your child is young, because then you're like, oh, they're sick, and also they're so cute with them little snotty little boogers or something like that. Whereas if you take care of your parents, you just rolling your eyes at them like,
Like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
uh-huh. So,
But
anywho, what
and
do you
you
say,
know what?
Mom?
That's one thing. Um, caregiving. A lot of people can't handle that. Sometimes it's a little bit too much for people.
Yeah.
You know, I can say that with me and my sisters. We came together to do some things, but there's some moments I understood why certain ones had to leave out and be like, you know, you can do it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not like you really like I'm I'm the golden child. I want to do this. Sometimes like I don't want to do this, but I know I have that, that's just that strength, that gift from God. It's like I can do it. I've done it. As you know, I took care of course, Chris and her many surgeries, Uncle Dan, Mom, Dad. So like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's just something that like, genuinely people are like born with, and those things just kind of get nurtured. Like I know that I think me and my siblings all like have that skill in some capacity. Like I have memories of like having pneumonia and like Ivana being like checking on me in the middle of the night, like Ivana will check on you. You
oh,
know what I
Mama,
mean?
yes, she will.
Um, I'm more of the like, all right, like Ivana will check on you. I'm the one who will like do. Like I'm very much of the doer.
Mhm.
Um, T says everyone has different capacity with caretaking, and that's okay.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And Donovan, I think Donovan can be very doer, like can be a doer also. I think just kind of because he's the youngest and like because me and Ivana kind of usually move first, he doesn't often have to do something.
hmm
But if you piss or hurt one of us, he's the first one running. But that's that fire stuff that be popping up for him.
yeah. He
But
acts sometimes like he's older than y'all with that moment. Like, you're the youngest.
yeah,
No,
so
you don't
yeah,
know.
I don't think that Domin often has to like caregive first, but like also he's a father now, and he caregives for his daughter whenever something happens, which I'm sure it does. Tummy aches, headaches, cuts, right,
Yeah,
bruises, things like that. Nappy little beady beads in the back of her head, um, and all of the above that we know
yeah.
about. So, um, but yeah, do you have any last words also for the people who do care? Here's Odie working the hardest in the background.
OD.
She's literally snoring. I know you all can't hear it, but she's snoring in the back. Donna said, keep going. He's like, praise me. Um, do you have any final thoughts or suggestions for people who around caregiving or taking care of your family, whether that's like things to keep in mind, things to do, ways to keep peace, um,
Be still.
things like that. Yeah, floor is
Um,
yours.
I would say if you are caregiving for your loved one, your family member, whomever, um, remember, one, to take care of yourself. Your loved ones, don't be like, they're just so mean, they don't listen. Sometimes we need to learn to hear them.
Mm-hmm.
Just real quick prime example, my mom, my sister, she is the cook of the family, and she would not want to eat the food, and she'd just be like, I want a Whopper. And my sisters are like, what? I don't care how late it was, I would go to Burger King and get
Mm-hmm.
her a Whopper. My thing is, the woman 79, you can have whatever you want. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we have to remember, yeah, it seems kind of far-fetched, but you keep peace. Sometimes you just like, okay, they don't want to eat, but they want that apple pie. Apple
Mm-hmm.
pie.
Yeah.
You know, give
Yeah.
it to them. You know, they happy. You are happy. I mean, there are days, yes, I was tired of looking at QB, writing down all the
QVC.
lists of Iman and whoever had a sale. And she was like, you could buy that for me. My shoe size, besides wearing clothes.
And you know her favorite color.
My favorite color is yellow.
Mm-hmm.
2 o'clock in the morning, you go and you check up on her, make sure she's sleeping. She go, hey, turn the channel because Anthony with 2 T's is on. I know he got a sale. That's 2
Mm-hmm.
o'clock in the morning. But
Mm-hmm.
remember to keep the peace.
Mm-hmm.
Give them. I mean, not it's not like they want some crazy stuff or want you to go and burn somebody's car. No, don't go that far. But to keep the peace, letting them have the little things that they want. They don't want to wear that. Let them change the clothes.
Yeah.
But remember, they want their um, if they can't have their independence, give them something to
Yeah.
let them feel good. So you can have a peace of mind. They can have a peace of mind. You never know. You both probably fall asleep looking at gun smoke.
Mm-hmm.
I just got
That
to tell
sounds right.
gun smoke, or as the world turns, or God, what's the other westerns Daddy used to look
Oh
at?
my goodness. What's the one with Chuck Norris?
Chuck Norris, Charles Bronson, the guy from Kill Bill. He, he had
Quentin
a Chinese,
Tarantino. Mm-hmm.
yeah, he had a little Chinese show back in the day. But those are things that kind of kept my mind straight because I
Yeah.
knew this is what they liked.
Yeah.
So to make them happy, I give them what they want. Um, I can always remember my dad giving him like a half a cup of water. He kind of looked at me like, last time I looked in the mirror, I was a grown man. I'm like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
don't give no grown man a half a cup of water.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, okay, you had a stroke, you probably can't. Don't have to go that far.
Yeah.
What they want is what they want. And
Yeah.
just to them, have a peace of mind, get some rest, love on your people, love on them, because you'll have all these memories to think back. And
Yeah.
I can honestly say, my father been gone since '04, mom been gone since 15, other dad been gone since 13.
Mm-hmm.
And I have all these amazing memories when they were healthy as well as when they got sick.
Mm.
Wow. And if I had to do it again, I would. I
Yeah.
would. I wouldn't change anything,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
before telling, mama that y'all was going to rob a bank. She's going to hold the money. You're going to push the wheelchair.
Look.
Money
I.
will come and say, hey, grandma. And she's like, I'm about to go to work for the man. And she'll come in. My mother go, how was working for the man? And so it was a day.
Yeah.
Or she wouldn't do right in PT. And I would call Donovan. And she'd be like, you telling on me? And
Mm-hmm.
Donovan call, is that my handsome grandson with a deep voice?
Mm-hmm.
Those are memories that we were always in bed. So enjoy, take care of your loved ones, take care of yourself, and don't regret it. Don't think it's, oh, it's a chore and I'm tortured. No,
Yeah.
it is a blessing to do this. And to do it, you have so many memories that can nobody take from you.
Yeah.
So enjoy it. Enjoy your
I
family. Yeah.
I agree, and all of those are memories I remember. So,
Yes.
yeah, 1,000% agree. I remember Grandma did not want to eat anything but some key lime pie, and Jackie also says is if this is what the person wants and they don't want to eat nothing else,
Give it to them.
give it to them. So on that note, I hope everyone have a great rest of their evening.
Yeah.
Mom, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for
And yeah, this is the Care Plans channel. So thank you to the Care Plan Again, my name is Port Jarman. I use she, her pronouns. And we will see you all next week. Bye.
Yes. Thank you, Becky. Thank you,
Thank
Z.
you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.